Yeah, hi,
Hello,
welcome
hello.
back to our In5D channel, where today In5D speaks with Dani Henderson from the Galactic Spiritual Informers Connection, or as many of you know as GSIC. My name is Greg Prescott, and I'm joined by my beautiful wife, as I call her, the hottest goddess, Allie. Hi, baby.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Looking forward to this?
Exciting. I'm very excited. I'm like a big kid. I am. I am. I love
Allie's,
this lady. I love this lady so much. My heart. I
she's
love.
she is
So
amazing. Yeah. So
she's a friend. Like a sister, a spiritual sister. That's kind of how it feels. I get emotional even thinking about it. Yeah, it's meant to be.
let's bring her in, and I'll introduce everyone right now to there she is,
Guys. Hi.
Hello.
Good
the
to hear
amazing and
about
beautiful.
you, Ellie and Greg. So
Hi,
lovely. I love you both so much. I'm such a huge fan of you and the work you do individually. And I'm so glad that we met. And I know that we met through your mum, Patricia.
We did.
Us online. Hi, Patricia. I'm coming over for those rock cakes soon, my love. I love learning about you, Ali, and the work you and your mum do in spiritual development circles, and you teach people. And Greg, you've been a forerunner, a trailblazer since before 2012. You should be one of the most well-known people in the spiritual informing space, but you've obviously been shut down for years, but not on my watch, darling. That's why I anyway, sorry to take over. I'm nervous because it's nerve-wracking. It's not like I'm interviewing someone. It's like you guys are interviewing me. So I hope I do a good job for you.
Oh, no, we appreciate you. We love you.
And for everyone, this is the amazing and beautiful Dani Henderson. She's a renowned spiritual therapist, psychic medium, founder of the Galactic Spiritual Informers Connection, GSIC, a platform dedicated to sharing unique and forbidden knowledge about extraterrestrials, contact, hidden technologies, and spiritual healing, with qualifications in Neuro-Linguistic Programming, NLP, and hypnotherapy. She combines decades of therapeutic practice with intuitive mediumship, offering profound insights into the spiritual and psychological realms. Through G6 annual conferences, her YouTube channel, and appearances on podcasts like ours, Dani engages Dani engages global audiences with discussions on UFOs, planetary history, and consciousness expansion, drawing from her personal experiences with extraterrestrial entities and paranormal phenomena. And without further ado, Dani, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Wow, sound amazing. Who wrote that?
I had a hard time reading it, but I hope it covered everything. And if it didn't, why don't you tell us a little bit more?
It's interesting because you mentioned the neuro-linguistic programming, the kind of elements of science that I chose, or therapy that I chose to train in through my life, and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I use it for a beautiful therapeutic insight to people where you can, for example, find in your heart or your chest pain from childhood, and you go there, you bring all the elements of pain in just for a few seconds. I don't believe in regular therapy. I never have. I speak against it, because why would you bring someone in your clinic every week and go over the same trauma every week, re-exaggerating and triggering the cellular memories? Why don't you give people a direct access to shift that, to change that brain chemistry? And for me, that's what NLP does, or the elements I trained in, which are, you'd find the pain, you'd say, where is it? It's normally in the chest. You say, what color is it? Right there, the brain goes, what do you mean, what color? You bring the element of unconscious surprise almost. And then you say, is it big? Is it small? If it's big, you imagine it going small. If it's moving, you make it still, and you make it your favorite color. And before you do that, you say, in regards to a gradient of 1 to 10, where is your trauma? How does it feel? And most people are at 8, 9, 10 or over. And then so you get them to acknowledge that. Then when you take them through basically you're reversing everything. If it's black, you make it gold. If it's big, you make it small. If it's moving, you make it still. So the brain scrambles the neural pathway that has become calcified, because each time you're triggered consciously or unconsciously, your feelings and emotions go straight to that neural pathway in the brain. But when you reverse everything, the element in the body that gets triggered, it can no longer find that program because you just put in a new neural pathway. That's why NLP is so important for people. And there are those that say, oh, it's taken over the world. I mean, you can use any element of therapy or kindness or spirituality or common sense and manipulate someone, so it's really, that just reminded me then when you said about the NLP, how people have attacked it, people with no intelligence, low intelligence, no information. But then if they have a big platform, they'll use that to influence. They may not be doing that on purpose, but they're doing a huge injustice to people's natural healing.
So it's not erasing the hard drive, it's reprogramming it.
Yeah, reprogramming. I remember when I did it and how I realized it really does work. I was scuba diving. I was doing my final PADI, the PADI, which is the first exam you do. And we were in California, and it was me, this giant nurse called Jessie, this Marine, I forget his name, and a little tiny Billy, who was the instructor. And we had to walk into the ocean backwards because you're flippered, you're going to fall over. So you've got your giant tank on your back, your regulator in your mouth. To me, putting the tank on your back for scuba diving, it's like carrying a donkey. I mean, not that I've ever done that, but I would imagine that like loading a donkey on your back. And you walk backwards into the ocean. But I remember standing at the edge of the ocean in La Jolla, San Diego, where I used to live. And my body went into a moment of terror because I was so frightened of the sea, and that movie Jaws messed everybody up, didn't it? Sharks are going to get me. And I remember my brain said, aren't you supposed to be scared of something? And I went, no. And it wasn't until I came out of the ocean, I'm like, oh my God, my body went to find the response to trauma that I've been holding, but it couldn't find it because I scrambled the pathway, the neural pathway. So that's how I absolutely know it works.
That would freak Ellie out.
Yeah, I've definitely had a past life with sharks, 100%. But it's not that I am frightened, but I'm absolutely fascinated by them. They're an apex predator. They are. The ocean's kind of like is their thing. So, yeah. It's like when if I feel as if I'm in the sea, it's like, well, if they want to eat me, it's up to them because that's their home. I've just got into their home, so they can eat me if they want. They'd have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with me. Greg said, I'll when we go into the sea, I'll go first, and it'll be. I said they're going to look past you and go, that's a snack.
I'll protect you. I got your back and your front.
I was like, they're not going to go bypass, and it's just it's a fun worry of mine. But that's I laugh about it until probably I get there, and then I'm like, I'm not going in there.
just a quick question while we're on NLP, Dani. How has that influenced the way you process and interpret your paranormal experiences?
From birth, I remember my birth, and most people say they don't remember their birth. And I've used it so many times whenever there's been a trauma or an upset or a fear that's come up. I have learned to alchemize the terror in my body. I have learned to imagine each cell in my body and the little mitochondria in the center, the nucleus of the cell, to kind of release any kind of electrical or emotional charge. I happily point out to people if I'm in session with them that this is how they can heal because it really does work. I think it's a tool that everybody should have access to. I mean, obviously, I've just shared how you do it. You don't need to be qualified in it. It really is commonsensical as well. It's for everybody. And so, yeah, Greg, I do use it. And sometimes, through life, I go, I'm nervous. Why am I nervous? Like I was nervous coming on your show, especially knowing I'm the first person you've interviewed. What an honor. That's really something. And I think that nerves are good. A little bit of anxiety is good because I also think it keeps you humble. Nobody wants to sit and listen to an asshole who's completely full of themselves, even if you come off that way, sometimes. So I'm good with clearing my space, clearing my field, checking myself in all levels. And like I say, right before coming on, I did say to you guys, I'm nervous. But no, and NLPs, I hope that answers your question. But yeah, NLP is a useful tool that we should all use for ourselves.
You mentioned
We have spoken to people before. This is our first big interview. This is our first kind of like what we want to do in our new kind of, we've kind of revamped things, haven't we? We've changed global predictions to the Great Awakening show and things like that. So this is our first kind of like big thing.
Yeah, I kind of named it In5D Speaks With. So you're our first In5D Speaks With guest.
Yeah, we're just so blessed. Mm-hmm.
So it's fascinating that you said that you remember the birthing process, which is, the earliest thing I can remember is being in my crib, looking through the crib with my hands on it at the record player that my parents played. They would play a record to help me go to sleep. And it had reached the end and the needle was going up and down. And I was looking at the needle bobbing up and down and there was nothing I could do about it. But, you said from your births. So can you share a moment from your childhood that first awakened your psychic and intuitive abilities and how that shaped your path as a spiritual therapist?
Yeah. So literally, I remember my birth because it was very dramatic. And my mother was taken to a place called Hastings in Sussex because there was a machine there. Because in vitro, when I was in the womb, something was picked up medically that could have been an issue. And they were like, this little girl might die. So if she gets into trouble, we need to put her on this particular machine. So that's why we ended up, me being born in Hastings, East Sussex, William the Conqueror, 1066, Harold and William. What happened was, now my mother is alive, but she actually died giving birth to me. So she was the one. So all the attention went to her because she was hemorrhaging. And then I was just rushed roughly along a corridor. And I remember it. And I was 6 years old at home. And I was watching this newsreel on the Buchanan Hospital in Hastings, which is no longer there. And I remember the green walls of paint, green Victorian color green, and the black and white tiles on the floor. And I'm sitting there next to my two brothers. And I remember bursting into tears. And my mum's like, what's the matter? I'm like, I know there. I've been there. She says, how could you know that place? That's where you were born. And boom, that went, whoa. So, and then, anyway, she was brought back to life. I remember being rushed, lights being roughly handled, I was very jaundiced. So I remember them roughly like whatever they do to babies who are in shock or whatever. And so that was pretty much first memory. And then another one that is so clear, like it happened yesterday, was funny you mentioned the bars of your crib. Because I was so young, I wasn't even speaking, and I was speaking fluently at 19 months. So I remember sitting in my crib, and I remember being gently put back into my crib, so gently, and then my back touching the wooden bars in the crib behind me, and looking up at this beautiful being with this huge head and these big indigo eyes and this light brown skin. And he has a motion and a frequency in him. And it's like this. It goes, Oh, it's pure unconditional love.
Was
and then
he human? Was that a human
no,
being?
He was an ET. He's an extraterrestrial. He's a 6th, 7th density extraterrestrial. His name is Annex. And he then glided backwards and stood in the curtains. And then I remember looking underneath the bedroom door, and there was a light because the light was on. And my mother comes in and she says, well, Dad, she's still awake. And then that dozy Doris picks me up and puts me on her hip. I'm immediately annoyed because I just want to be back with him. He'd taken me upstairs for a checkup, what we call a checkup. And then I was outside in the garden, stars are in the sky, and I'm so confused. Where's the light? Where's the sun? I just want to be with him. Then my mother put me back in my crib, not as gently as Annex did. But what's amazing about that happened over 50 years ago. And my friend Elena Danan, who has brought so much galactic information, also brought the information on Annex. And I think it's so lovely that, if she was an individual alone, just speaking about these beautiful ETs that she's met. And there was no one else that could actually validate and say, I saw him too. I met him too. So I think that's lovely for her. And it's lovely for me. And it was years later that I met him again in my house in Costa Rica, where he came in the room. And I'm like, oh my God, it's him. It's him. And then, I was already reconnected back with Elena. It was so beautiful to validate that it was him. So I suppose in terms of my spiritual awakening, it was with the ETs first, which is why, I wrote my book, Angels, Demons and Aliens, because I physically had this. And, I've got into a lot of trouble with people who've been so upset because I independently stand hard on the ground of physical evidence. It doesn't mean that their experiences aren't real because they, had a dream, or they were hypnotized, or they astral traveled, or they were meditating. But as an individual who's here to prove and validate the reality of the worlds that we inhabit, multidimensional worlds that we inhabit, it's been important for me to really highlight that point. But, people get very offended. Well, they choose to get offended. And I'm a bit bombastic and outspoken, but I never mean to hurt people's feelings. But now and again, I'll have a little pop at someone if they're particularly...
The truth is the truth, and sometimes the truth
is
people too,
I'm a bit too fluffy. Greg thinks I'm very fluffy because I don't like calling out names, and I don't like this, and I don't like it, and but we have to be ourselves, don't we? We all have we've all got a different role on this planet, and everybody is needed. If everyone was the same, it would just be really not nice. So yeah.
Dani instigated me when she had me on her show.
I know. And he was going, I'm sorry, Mama Pat. I'm sorry, Mama Pat. I'm sorry. She was laughing. She said, I said, did you see the interview? She said, yes, I did. And I'm going to be having words with my son. I am.
Oh God, it's hard to contain myself sometimes. It's interesting though, in this story you just mentioned, how you noticed the black and white tile, the Masonic tile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I know, it's very entrenched in us now, isn't it? I mean, the black and white, the chessboard, or whatever you want to call it, it's so infiltrated, and because of the programming, the mass hypnotic programming, that none of us are away from it. It's all of our faces, but the way that media works now, we're trying to dismiss conspiracy theories and this and that. We often go to black and white as the Masonic, but also it was just standard Victoriana tiling as well. Like, some people think it's all meaning something, but again, not necessarily. It was just the Victorian, ancient, old Victorian building.
I have a video I'd like to share, if you don't mind.
Please.
And it's from one of your conferences. And why don't you set us up with this?
This was
well, it's a green screen at the moment, love.
Yeah, but this is night vision footage, so it comes out green.
I see.
So last September the 27th, 2024, my conference, Galactic Spiritual Informers Connection, in Westminster, Colorado, beautiful Thorhan Aredian, who is the guardian and protector of our... Do you want to pause that so we can see what that is?
Yeah, pause
that. That is not an ET craft. That is a military craft made by our own people, made by humans. That is a what we call a TR-3B. And it has a propulsion system. So when you see the three lights coming on, that's its own propulsion system. It is from former ET technology. There is also a thinking that the negative Sakaar reptilians or the negative Draco reptilians inhabited this craft themselves and brought it. So when people sometimes see these craft, they're like, oh, it's the reptilians. No, my love, it's not. It's the Navy. They go, the Navy? Yeah, the Navy. They make ships for the seas and ships for the skies. So that is what we are looking at here, is this TR-3B. But this was so incredible, proving that the good ETs work with the White Hats and the Earth Alliance on our planet. So that flew over us first, and it was unbelievable.
Check this out.
This is spacecraft. This is Galactic Federation of Worlds, beautiful, benevolent spacecraft flying over our little hotel, just flying right up above us.
Now, you arranged for this contact to happen beforehand, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So Elena Danan, who I mentioned previously, the beautiful Elena Danan, who's an emissary for the Galactic Federation of Worlds, she organized this flyover with her contact, Thorhan Aredian, who's a Pleiadian who I've also physically met in physical person. He's the most handsome man I ever saw in my life, apart from you, Greg.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
What an amazing shot.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, it was so
night vision.
And you wouldn't believe that the media ignored it, and other foolish numpty nuts condemned it. I mean, that's birds.
Who could condemn that?
I think everybody watching believes it, but nobody in the media will.
Wow.
It was amazing. There was over 1,000 of us attendees watching, and it was just so emotional and moving and beautiful and proof, proof.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Look at that.
That's not.
They were like putting on a show for you guys. There wasn't just a flyover. They were like, look at what can be done. This is it.
Yeah. And, we had the green pointer there because there were people that couldn't see beyond the trees. Like, we had a really good shot, but we were in this giant amphitheater. So there were people that were going, where? We're like, there,
Yeah.
We weren't shining it in the eyes of the pilots. And what an absolute honor and blessing and gift that truly was.
Wow. That is so impressive.
Goodness.
I'll leave a link to that in the more info section. So you
Right.
guys can check that out on Dani.
That was one of the happiest days of my whole life. That was one of the happiest moments of my entire being. To be able to bring physical proof.
Yeah.
And again, it was Elena Danan and her contact Thorhan Aredian and the Galactic Federation of Worlds, not Light. The Galactic Federation of Light has been proven to be a CIA psyop. There's documentation. It is written as such. But because we're trying to be forcibly kept away from our natural, inheritance of information, people split people, they argue, but you just got to go lead with your heart. That's the stage we're at now. There's, I'm beyond the point of trying to convince people. I no longer bother. Don't waste my time. I'm like, mate, if you had the opportunity to look at what was there, but moving forward, we just continue. And people will come along or not. But, when they start, they're there every night. And here's the thing. All you have to do now, there's so many craft. All you have to do now is go outside at night, take a deep breath, lay down, chill out, and wait and see them turn up. Every being on the planet can connect. They're there. They're not just coming at certain events anymore. They're there all of the time.
Yeah. I've had more and more people say, I see them every night. I go outside. All I have to do is call them and they are there, because the beauty of it is I do readings for people from Greg's channel In5D. I know he said it's ours, but he's a creator. So all these people are already awake and aware, and I'm reading for these wonderful people. Obviously I get other people as well, but these people, so they're already believing in their own galactic partnerships that they have. They're also, some of them think, they are from the galactic families. So that I've already got that. And so they're all already talking about their experiences and everything else. And I want to talk to more In5D, our family as well, because they've got so much. We did a little show, didn't we, with I think it was Patrice and Mary and who else was it? Tina.
Yes.
Tina. That was wonderful. So I was talking about all their experiences as well. So I find this fascinating. I wish I had some stories about it, but I don't have many. So can you please make sure that that can happen? I would like to experience something.
Well, you're up late enough at night, Ali. So, you know, you really just pop in the garden, my love, and look up.
Okay, I will. I will.
You know, you mentioned all these UFOs that are out there too. You know, imagine how many more that are out there on, well, many of us can, but that are out there on different dimensional levels.
Yeah.
Guys,
You know, it's incredible. And obviously, they're not all from the Galactic Federation of Worlds. There are many other civilizations that are just flying over minding their own business anyway, you know. But now we've got like the satellite structure. So before, you know, I worked in the space industry for a while too. And so I learned and was recruiting the best scientists, the best PCB assemblers, the best propulsion engineers, the best thermal. You know, it was incredible. I had a space agency. I can't even believe I say that out loud, but I did. And that's the thing, when you start to map your world and map your life and map your training, you go, how is it that I'm at this position now with this beautiful disclosure conference? You know, and knowing people like Helena and Alex Collier and JP, Tony Wood-Riggs, Nikki Allen, Mohan, Kathy O'Brien. Now,
Yeah. Wow.
at my next conference in England next September. I mean, these amazing people, they've brought so much to the planet. They're so brave. And I just am so blessed that, you know, I know them. I've just forgotten what I was saying, but that's right.
Oh, no.
Ellie, you have a question you're burning to ask Dani. Actually, several of them, but.
Several. How did you first meet Elena? How did that come about?
So years ago, when the movie came out, well, my whole life, I always kept seeing this little brown-haired girl, like long hair, and she'd like run in my periphery and run in my periphery. And I'd be like, who is that?
You shared a picture of her when she was young, didn't you, on your page recently?
I love that.
So picture. I can visualize that. Yeah.
3 years old in that image, only 3 years old, and she's looking out the window and she's calling out. It makes me want to cry, even knowing that she's crying out for Thorhan to come and get her. Anyway, and so years later, I'm in a cinema in a movie house. I don't even remember to this moment who the hell I was with, but I went to see that movie, Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot. And it's only the first few minutes when you see this little girl with this long brown wavy hair, dark brown hair, being trained like in a Grecian kind of environment.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, oh, my body, I thought I was having an epileptic seizure. Every cell in my body was vibrating. I was shaking. I was sobbing. I didn't even realize there was noise coming out of me because there she was. Well, there was a representation of who she was. There's that woman. And people around me going, what's the matter? I'm like, I don't know, but I know her. That's the little girl. That's her.
Yeah.
And then not too long after that, a friend said to me, do you know Elena Danan? I'm like, no, who's that? She goes, I'll send you a link. And then I went,
yeah.
Like, I saw her, I'm like, there she is. There she is. And then she was doing readings back in the day. And I basically wrote to her and I emailed and I said, I see you giving so much. I see you just emptying out to help people and spiritually guide them. I said, I would love to give you a reading for free, you know, just to honor you. Excuse me. And then when I sent the email to her, because her email was public in those days, I basically pulled down the memories I had, the energy frequency, and I lovingly wrapped it energetically around the email and from my heart to her heart, and I sent it. And out of the hundreds of emails that lady was getting, even at that stage, she felt my frequency. And so when we finally met, that's what she said. She said, I felt your energy. So that when we saw each other, I'm like, and guess what else? Right before the reading. Now, so I'm in Costa Rica. I'm standing on the balcony. There was a family a few 100 yards away. And they're screaming, going, Dad. I'm standing on the balcony. I'm saying my prayers. which I always do because I get so anxious reading anyone, or it's such an honor to read someone's energy. You have to take it very seriously, and hold that sacredness. And so I always go outside and I say my prayers. And when the galactics come in, they come in on a different frequency, and I can always feel that frequency. If it's angelic, it's kind of higher. If it's galactic, it's at a different vibration. If it's demonic or lower entities, it comes in lower. And my head was crackling with electromagnetic frequency, and I've got my eyes shut, and I go, "There's Dani, my phone," and I'm, "Dani, what?" They were like, "There's a UFO." And it was like, and I felt like they were checking on me, making sure she's safe. That's what I told myself at the time. I didn't know that we all knew, or I knew some of the same ETs that she did, and which she helped me remember and confirm. It's important to be validated and not go, "Oh, I'm the supreme being of all connection." No, I'm not. That was amazing. And then I was able to share things with her that only she could possibly know, which is the blessing when you do a reading. If you can do that for someone, it's like, and they go, "Oh my God, you couldn't have known that. There's nothing online," all that people put themselves through. And yeah, it was beautiful. And then we've just been on this incredible journey, of our own kind of self-growth and connection. And, she's spoken at every single GSIC so far, and she's brought so much information, true history of our planet. And, she's an amazing woman.
I've got this girl crush. I'm sorry, Greg. I'm sorry. But she is like a goddess, like a living goddess to me. There's femininity, everything she does with her hands, everything that she says. And I think it's the French accent as well, isn't it? It's like she's very, very elegant. So yeah. And if I think like that, I know that Greg does, because we kind of think alike. We haven't spoken about this already. Yeah, she's lovely.
What I will say to people about Elena is she honestly, truly is. I was on the phone with Nikki Allen earlier, and I was saying to her, me and Nikki Allen, we're more like men in our humor. Like we were in the States, and I said, "What the hell are we laughing about?" Because we laugh so much. And we were doing the bending over laughing walk, whatever you want to call that. When you're killing yourself.
Yes, I do. Try not to wet yourself, Dani. Yeah, that's me.
Right. It's the funniest thing. And I said to her today, "What on earth were we laughing at? We were bending over. We couldn't even stand up." And she can't remember, and neither can I. And with Elena, there's a whole different level of elegance and grace. And it's real. Yeah. It's actually who she. And her energy is etheric, and it's so gentle and kind of fairy-like. I can't really describe it, but like when you hug her, and she's such a delicate build, she has her own smell. I can't describe it. It's so different. Like she's so different to anyone I've ever met in the physical form. I mean, she's really, Yeah. And she's very, sensitive and beautiful and brilliantly clever. And she can wipe the floor with anyone at NASA. She'll tell you how craft works, how they're propelled, how they power up, density, mass collapsing. I mean, she's just a font of actual information because she's seen it, she's done it. She's a brilliant science mind because she's worked in these realms. She's an extraordinary person.
Am I right in saying that she used to be an archaeologist as well? Yes. Yeah, because there's I think there's some footage of her with the pyramids and the hieroglyphs and everything.
Yeah, she's so educated in ancient Egyptology and all of that she spent 8 years or 9 years in Egypt, and she ended up in the temples of Luxor, the Temple of Karnak, working with, who's that naughty man that owns everything in Egypt and always tries to put out the stop and don't say this, I discovered this, and Howie Hawass, Dr. Howie Hawass, I forget his name, everybody knows
Yeah.
Him. She worked alongside him. Elena Danaan was the one who was translating the ancient hieroglyphics.
Wow.
Yeah.
Her tenure, her long-term global Earth tenure in her 50 years of being here. She should get a lot more credit than she certainly does.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's because they want to subdue her, because they don't want the truth to get out there. You know, they meaning the deep state. They don't want to get this out there. So that's why Greg's been so shadow banned and held back. So yeah, so it is what it is. But we're happy. People who watch, we're trying to ask everybody to share. Please share the content. Please like the video. We've got to get past the algorithm somehow. And if someone else shares that aren't shadow banned, that's how we do. And so, yeah, it's we're grateful.
And you brought up, and we've been talking about GSIC. What inspired you to form GSIC, to build it?
You know, it's amazing. I never in my life put on a conference ever. And I remember going to watch Alex Collier, the great Andromedan, who's been for 30 years screaming, as he would say, into the wind. But now the tides have turned in the deep state. The old guard is being taken down. The grey ETs and the reptilian Sicard Draco have been taken down and removed. So now I've just got the satanic occult that's also being dismantled. Because a lot of these that led the charge and these ancient bloodline families, and it's all true and it does exist. And if anybody feels the pop in, oh, is that a conspiracy theory? That's a program, my love. So you might want to just delete that, because we've got to recognize, like with the black and white, how we suddenly go to a narration that's out there in the media that influences our mind. So Alex Collier has been one of the most prolific ET contactees ever on our planet. Amazing information on the Andromedans, and Tony Rodriguez, my friend, also, who's brought information on secret space programs. So they were speaking at a conference, and I was there. It was in Mount Shasta, and there was a guy called Rob Potter. Bless him, he's passed on now, but he did his best. He did his best in his own experiences and bringing this conference. And I watched Alex Collier speak. I already knew him. I already knew them. That's why I flew from wherever I flew from across the world, wherever I was living, to meet with them in person. And Laura Eisenhower was there, and Brad Olson was there. And I remember watching Alex, and there was nowhere to sit or stand. There were people on the floor, crammed against the wall, and he only got an hour. And he's talking about the spacecraft and how they're conscious, and how the Andromedan spacecraft, and you put your hands up and it comes down, and, you know, living matter, organic matter that connects to the genome and the biology and physiology of the person, the pilots of the craft. And it was just like, oh my God, more people need to hear this. And so at the event, I said to Alex Collier and Tony Rodriguez, if I put, it just dropped into my head like these great
That was
ideas.
one of my questions here.
Yeah, it dropped into my head, and something said, you need to do a conference. So I just said to them, if I put on a conference, would you guys speak? And they said yes. And then I shit myself, and I thought, oh my God. Well, I don't know. I'm not the brightest firework at the party, honestly. But all I do know from years of experience in life, if you want to do something really well, do the bit that you're good at, but surround yourself with genius. Because if your ego is so big, you've got to tell yourself you're going to mess up. So I was so lucky. The people that used to run the Deepak Chopra global events, when Deepak Chopra was like the most famous spiritual guru on the planet, they just happened to become free. And all at the same time, they were introduced to me, and I got to take them on as part of my team. Amanda Ree and Renee Ringalda, and they and others, Jeff Burr and Mike Scott and other beautiful people, Moira, they have come, Disco Tina, they have come, stood alongside me and helped me lift this into what it is today. And it is a global phenomena of disclosure of every single system. Obviously, the ETs are massively important. Our galactic heritage is massively important. But right now, we're here on the planet in these physical bodies, and we all came back from somewhere to take our planet back. So Kathy O'Brien was one of the absolute biggest elements of GSIC this year in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we just had it 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago. It was just incredible. I'm still recovering from the jet lag and the weight of it, the emotional weight. It's such a lot, and I love it. And it's my mission, truly my mission. But yeah, Kathy O'Brien, who physically endured the worst unimaginable tortures at the hands of monsters in the Pentagon and the White House, who some of them are still in power today. Some of them are deciding our lives today. So now we name them, we shame them, we bring the proof of the monstrosity that they have delivered on our beautiful brothers and our sisters. And we stand strong and we unite together, all of us, and we move forward and we mow them down or pop them in the bin as we move forward, taking back our planet. That's our duty, that's our role. And it's all of us. It isn't just a handful at the GSIC, all of us.
Yeah, everyone's got a role, whether or not it's, you know, sharing the content, you know, or whether it's kind of just commenting, you know, and to I don't know, a complete stranger. It's like, oh, I've not heard of that. It's pebbles in the ocean, isn't it? It's like, but it's the ripple effect that it just goes out like that. You don't realize one person can make a big difference, but you get a platform like you've got, and you share your platform and create this. It's like a warrior team of people, I think, you know, from, you know, the people that you've mentioned, you know, the people that we all know, but also people that are behind the scenes as well that helped you. So
yeah, I think anyone who would step forward and say, look at me, I have made fire, look what I have done, you know, things you know, get over yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
At the event, amongst other great, legendary people that are there, was my beautiful friend Praveen Mohan, who has millions of followers across the world. He's Indian and he's Hindu and he's beautiful and he's just like this gentle, childlike brilliance. I can't describe him highly enough. I love him so much. He's got this cute little high-pitched voice and this. What he's done for ancient mythology, technology, history on the ancient Hindu temples. Like he'll go in to a temple made hundreds of thousands of years ago. Now, if we listen to modern day history, it'll say, oh no, we're only 4,000 years old, maybe 60,000. The dinosaurs are really dragons. I mean, he goes in, he highlights a hieroglyph with AI and color, and he draws it out and then he brings it to life. And we have learned so much about our ancient temples. They were sound healing temples. They were there for the greatness of humanity to connect on many levels. And his work is astounding. But at GSIC, at the last one 2 weeks ago in America, in Charlotte, the slides where he was showing the elements of sound and the bells they took out of all the churches, all those slides got jammed, you know, and they weren't playing. And I have the best team in the world. And if I'm going to brag, I'm going to brag about the people I have around me, man, and the friends I have in my world, because they need bragging about. But the slides wouldn't work. So I got on stage after. I said, I can assure you guys that was not my brilliant global world-class team. That was the asshats blocking it. Well, guess what? Next week, Praveen's coming back on my YouTube channel, which is this name here, obviously Dani Henderson GSIC, and we're going to play those slides. Okay? We're going to play slides so even more people get to see the element, the sound, the light, the frequency in the beautiful ancient temples. So there's no stopping humanity. You know, there just isn't.
No, they can't. Praveen, what was his name? Praveen? Did you say Praveen?
Praveen Mohan. Oh my God. And he's shown us these gigantic monolithic, you know, granite marble columns. And, you know, they turn and they move.
What, the ones underneath the pyramids, you mean?
No, not even. No. Imagine a giant Hindu temple. Imagine one. All the ornate carvings and, you know, just incredible. And there are columns inside. The giant columns, they turn, they move. They were built to move. These are ancient machines. These are ancient marble monolith. Exactly, Ali. Look at your face.
Wow, I'm shocked now.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to watch that. I've got to watch that. That's amazing.
Yeah, there's a link if you're watching on YouTube right now. There's a link to Dani's channel right below our video. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah, definitely.
But you mentioned galactic heritage, and when you had me on your YouTube channel, recently, I mentioned how there are 4 different blood types, 2 different RH values. What are your thoughts on our galactic origins?
You know, it's really interesting. If you listen to Elena Danaan, for example, I know I've been speaking about her a bit, but she's brought so much to the planet, and she really does deserve, you know, the accolades.
Yeah.
And the struggle and the way that, you know, she's been maligned. And she talks about her own bloodline and different kind of DNAs, like a DNA from Annex, the beautiful Egoroth I mentioned to you earlier. And so there are people on the planet with very different, you know, blood types. So all science gives us is their thesis, their theory, their physical proven, or only what they'll allow us to know. So people talk about Rh negative, Rh positive. In America, they call it rhesus negative. What was that? Rhesus negative. Or there's different aspects to how we would say what kind of blood group we are. Now, we've learned that the Facebook, Fakebook, YouTube, BoobTube, you know, all the mean ass algorithms, bots, the collecting of data, the big surveillance gurus, you know, that they want to know people's bloodlines and blood groups, and they're dangerous. So you don't really want to be sitting out there bragging about being Rh negative, because that's
right.
An ET delineation. But I don't believe that there are only 3% or 15%. I don't believe it. I've met tons of Rh negative people. So again, there's a lot of mixing up in the information that comes out to us. Apparently we have these 22 strands or 24 strands and 12 strands were switched off. And I listen, but because of the way that this mind, body, soul integrates information, I don't remember all of the details. And one of the things I struggle with as an individual is I call brain paralysis, or information overload, or mathematics. I'm dyslexic. I don't want that label, but sometimes I just have to. You know, I was doing a broadcast earlier and I was showing tons of books I read to help people, you know, with information. And then I got to one book, and then, oh, I was mentioning that channel. I love it. Chantel Mayberg. And then I tried to say the name of her channel, which always goes backwards in my mind. It's Aquarius Africa Rising. And I was trying to focus on saying it right. The panic of saying someone's channel wrong, right? The responsibility. Yeah. And then my brain goes into, I call it emotional paralysis. It locks up. And then I look like there's something wrong with me, which I'm fine with. And so I'm trying to push through that block. Or as a child, that would come out as a stutter, a stammer, or I would just like lock it down. So I don't remember all of the information, nor do I want to, Greg. I don't want to remember every single thing about all the DNA and the different strands. And for me, it's too much. I do the best I can with the information that I give. And like I said, what I experience is mostly physical experience as opposed to theorizing or reading, which is how I've come to express information on this planet. Does that answer your question?
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Say
your point of view, because this will make sense if you say what you believe, that this goes against the Adam and Eve concept.
Oh, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
With 2 blood types, you can't get 4.
I basically think we're galactic royalty, and because we have all these mixes of various DNA within us from various star systems, in my opinion, you know, like somebody might be, you know, hypothetically, if you're Italian, what if the Italians helped to seed this planet? What if the Russians? What if the black people? What if, you know, Puerto Ricans or Mexicans? And what if each language was a light language? And now if you mix all these different people, it kind of creates a genetic lineage. Anyway, enough about that.
No, you're right. You're right. You know,
it was my dog, and my dog. You know, you said, what was that? It was the dog sneezing over there.
How funny. Did somebody sneeze? The genetic mix, the different bloodlines that can be inhabited in these bodies are more than one element. That I definitely believe. So you're right. I believe that we were created, that we're an experiment, that we do live inside a manipulation of a matrix system, and that we're not told half the things that we should know, but that's why there's people like me out there being bombastic and pushing and kicking indoors and demanding that we do get the information. I believe that we were genetically upgraded, and I do believe the story of the Anunnaki. I do believe there were negative and positive, as there is in every race on the planet. I don't believe they were the very first. That's my own opinion. I'm entitled to it.
Me too.
I've got no proof of it, but this is what I think about. I'm not happy with every explanation I've been given, but nor am I also able to grasp and remember every single thing. But this is the great awakening, the great reveal. And so everything that we have learned and absorbed in these minds, bodies, and souls is going to make sense the more that, you know, people are bringing information like we do at my conference, when we get to put everything together. It's an individual journey. It's self-advocation. If people get caught up in, oh, this person said that and this person said that, they're robbing themselves of the beauty of their own soul. Why would you do that? Listen, sure, stop getting involved in the gossip and the misunderstandings. Come back here. Come back here. You know, every single speaker I've ever had, and I believe every single person pretty much I've had on my channel, has had something beautiful to bring, something important. And, you know, people fall out, people go different ways. That's okay. It's okay. But notice the nuggets. And I think, for me, I do try and stand strong. And like, if I'm wrong, I'll apologize. You know, I don't know everything. And it takes being humble, owning when you're wrong. I've done it loads of times on the channel. I'm always bloody saying sorry. Other people need to say sorry too. There should be some public apologies from years down the line, and you know, we should be set together. But the deep state wants us all to fight.
Of course they do. Yes, they do.
We're all fighting. We're missing out on our soul's journey of, you know, connecting to the light that we are and being the best that we came to be. And that's not wishy-washy spiritual bollocks. That's fact. That's truth.
Yeah. The more that we're not together, the more they can manipulate and do their silly games. Yeah.
Like I said on Dani's show, once the bottom of the pyramid unites, and that's all of us, the rest will collapse.
Yeah. Very true.
Very true. A meme of people, men, but you know, with the chessboard on their backs, they're holding up the chessboard. That was the image that you showed on the presentation you did on my channel just last week or the week before, Greg. You know, these asshats are sitting around, these bloated, mostly white men are sitting around and, you know, carving up the world between themselves and all the off-planet galactic travel that we've been doing for a long time. And just because NASA doesn't have the guts to tell the truth, that doesn't mean that NASA's right. I'm so cross with NASA. Not the great people, not the beautiful people. This is the thing with NASA. I'm not speaking as a whole. There's a few people that have prevented information coming out, you know, and they're the ones I'm mad at. The Nazis who created NASA, you know, don't say Nazi. Well, I just did. You know, if you're going to get offended, this is a broadcast for you. It's just like, and people get offended by me speaking that way. But isn't it better just to have someone just be black and white sometimes and worry about, you know, gaining friends and influencing people? Because we're all in this together. You know, I'm doing my bit to help and support. But Greg, that was a brilliant presentation. I hope everyone goes and watches it. And that was a really, really important image, because once those men and women holding up the chessboard with the arseholes at the top, mocking them and eating off them and feasting off them, once they stand up, there's no chessboard. It's over. Game over. It's going to be that simple. Simple.
Yeah. Oh, such true statements there. That I agree with every single thing there. I know that that's coming. I've remote viewed the future. I've seen how beautiful this is going to be. I thought it would be done by now, actually. When I saw it, it was like everything was supposed to be done, dusted. 2024 was when I thought everything was going to be done, dusted, and we're still dragging it on. And I think that's because people are too scared to stand up, you know, knock that chessboard off. You know, I mean, you know, there's people in power, and the way that they're being manipulated. You know, we saw with the Diddy trial, we saw because they have got either fake footage of them doing awful things, or they threaten families, they threaten people that they love, and it's like time to say, you know, F to all of that. I've got to say my truth and stand up. Yeah, it's hard for people, I know, but it's got to be done.
It's got to be done. Like it's like that saying, if not now, when?
When? Yes.
You know, we've already
definitely
go around at locking us down, shutting us at home. You know, it's like we're watching all the lampposts go up. We're watching these hideous 5G towers, and they're not just 5G towers. They're 6 and 7G. These are going to be for the police on the flying craft to monitor, you know, the peasants in their homes. And the 5G towers, there's awful, hideous, you know, satellite receivers hidden in different modern technology. They're acting as a security fence. Like and then people are like, oh, the roadworks. What are they wiring up right now in every single town? Why aren't we waking up? I live in Sarasota, where you live, Greg, as you know, Florida, putting in blue and purple lamp lights. Then when I left in 2022, did I leave there? I don't remember. The years have just gone so like, you know, these miserable monsters are still determined to try and shut us down, corral us into the 15-minute cities. All of that is true. The Orwellian drama, it's true. It's all true. And there's 5 of them, and there's 5 billion of us. Literally, that's the math. It's like, come on, guys. Come on. Oh, I feel we're live. I can always feel that energy.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned 5G. When I was in Mount Shasta, and this was over 10 years ago, at the base of Mount Shasta, you wouldn't believe the incredible cell service I had. There's they put there's trees with 5G and all this crap. So but a quick question I want to ask you. You know, a lot of people have visions. A lot of people have been talking about certain things like the event and what's going to happen. What information have you gotten from yourself or from other people about what may happen in the near future?
Okay, so here we go. So there's not going to be an individual single solar event. It is an absolute lie. And can you imagine? Think about that. How terrifying for people every day sending your kids to school, your husband to work, whatever. And you are thinking, will the solar flash happen today? You know, my dog's at home, I'm at work. Will the solar flash happen where everyone's going to be, boom, will it end the world? Or boom, will it upgrade us all to 5D? It's a lie. It's a myth. And you can now spot the liars. The people that put that out, be very aware. Those that said there's going to be one solar flash. The sun is a portal. The heat of the sun does not happen at the point of entry on the sun. It happens when the sun's rays connect to the earth frequency. That's where the heat comes from. People aren't burning up in space. Astronauts aren't burning up in space. But guess what? When I say that and I put that out, somebody will come back with a counteraction. That's fine too. Let's have the discussions. This is what I believe. The sun is a portal. There are hundreds of thousands of craft coming in and out of that sun all the time. A black hole is not an implosion and a death of something. It is a point of creation. There's so many things we've been lied to about. We are all at the point, like I said before, got to go in here. The healing is here. We keep looking outside, you know, for the awakening out there. Gather the information, but your healing is here. Right, we raise frequency, we come together, we shift, we push up through that 3D prison that we've been in, we push past, you know, people talk about the frequency of love. There's nothing greater. It is the greatest technology, frequency. Nothing can penetrate that. That's why they want to keep you stressed and miserable and down and grey. That's why they're panicking to get all the 5G towers out, 6G, whatever. You know, the point...
It's too late.
It's way too late. And Greg, to your point again, the things that we've been told about an individual, single, independent awakening, Jesus is not going to be coming back in the clouds saying, rise up, my brothers and sisters. I believe that Jesus came as a fully realized, beautiful human reminding us people, us humans, how beautiful and amazing we are. Like him, he came to remind us with his love. And I saw Jesus when I was 7 in my bedroom. So I know he's real. And he, you know, I've been more...
Mama's seen him too. Yeah.
Right. Beautiful. And, you know, I was suicidal. I was 7. I would been trying to kill myself since I was 6 because nobody believed the demons in my room. Nobody believed the angels I was seeing. Nobody believed the ETs. And, you know, I couldn't control all of this horrific spiritual warfare from demonic entities. And I didn't know at 6 how to unalive myself. I mean, you don't. I just used to keep praying, can I die? Can I die? Can I die? Can I die? You know, because it was just unbearable. Nobody believed me.
Probably you remembered that actually dying is not that bad. So,
well, yeah, but not that we want to encourage because we're here.
No.
That's why I wrote my...
Whoops, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
That story's in there. And so having had, again, to answer your question, Greg, this is my belief. I've met the Jesus or Yeshua. People call him Yeshua too. And he was a being. And I've had people on my channel recently who I am allowing a different information, even if I don't agree with it completely. Who am I? We all learn information on different layers and levels. We should be more open to having more discussions, you know, and you know, I will not have my channel be accused of being an echo chamber and just having one specific person for this and one specific, because we're all in this together. You know, if I was around someone or anyone or any group that put themselves above anybody, I am not friends. We are not friends. That's why I keep saying to the audience at my conference, you know, no one above another. And like anyone puts himself above you, my boot their ass. Not having it. Don't you dare look at me or people I work with as elite or no. We just got bigger mouths than you. You know,
yeah.
Right, in certain areas, but don't you dare put us on a pedestal, because I do not put myself on a pedestal, but also I will not stop fighting for my brothers and my sisters. So how else am I going to do it? Hopefully that's a roundabout way of answering your question,
I think the event is actually subjective because I've actually had a vision where white light floods the planet, and I'm seeing myself standing in front of myself. And when that happens, the only thing you feel is this unconditional love to a magnitude never experienced on Earth. And I say that to imagine, you know, the person or people that you love the most, magnify that by 1,000,000 times, and that's the love that you'll feel. You know, money, government, politics, religion, when that happens, no longer matter. If your boss is an asshole, doesn't matter. And I had an In5D beach meetup where this woman had a near-death experience, was brought to the other side of the veil. And I had explained that vision that I had. And she said, that's exactly what I was shown as well. So I think it's subjective about the event. I know that you said it's not going to happen. To some people, it might. I don't think I was shown it for no reason.
Yeah, no, I mean, like there were people who were trying to jump on the galactic train. One Muppet in particular, who kept saying there's going to be one solar flash. And so my point about that is how terrifying.
Yes, the solar flash, no.
Yeah, it was delivered in the wrong way. It put the fear of God into everybody. And that's wrong. Yeah. We can't be, how are we going to grow? How are we going to be awake to perceive these beautiful events that are happening? Yes. There's constant solar raising on the planet. There's constant energy frequency where it's happening all the time. That's why we can see so much now. That's why we can see so many craft. That's why so many people are awakening, because it's a gentle happening. I'm sure there's going to be like a bzzz, like, you know, quick upgrade here and get on with it, get over yourselves. But not
I think there's going to be a big, I think we're going through that, a big awakening ourselves, and it might come as a visual of that. You might have that visual in a sleeping moment or a like some sort of meditation and things. I don't know, maybe not reality.
Yeah, but Greg, not to take away from your vision, because our visions are crucial to us. They're also guiding us, you know. So I'm coming from what I believe. That's it. And you asked me an honest question. I'm giving you a direct, honest answer. You know,
no offense taken.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Like I said, it's subjective, and you know,
you've only ever just shared your vision. You've never said this is it. This is what's happening. Because being.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she poofed. on us.
Whee! Hello, everybody.
You do it.
What did Abby go? What a fairy god! Oh, in and out.
She's
That's magic tricks.
going in between dimensions.
There she is.
There we go.
I don't know what's going on. I really don't.
I don't know what happened.
I
Interference
love it.
again? I don't know, but we are live still. Thank you.
We are live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're just talking about, you know, experiences and what we may expect in the near future, and, you know, whatever it does, is going to happen. And all we can do is what we can do right now, basically.
Yes.
That's putting our own truths out there and
know your power. This is the thing. This is what all my readings at the moment are about. Know your power. You know, it's like, can I have? Yes, you can have. All right. Will I? Yes, you will. Okay. You have to be the magnet. You have to bring it to you. You know, understand you're bringing it to you. Bring things that you wish and want to you, and understand in your heart, do I deserve this? Yes, I deserve this. So therefore, why wouldn't you have it? So this to me is like, you know, knowing your power is crucial at this time, especially with what the darkness wants to bring us, which is doubt all the time. And don't believe in yourself, believe in other people, other gurus, other this, other that. It's like, no, you are the person with the light, you know. So
we could probably go on for hours, and maybe we could do another show, because I have a ton of other questions I would love to ask you, Dani.
Oh,
yeah, fascinating.
Before we sign off, why don't you cover whatever it is that you'd like to say before we leave? And
your book.
And in the chat, I've already put in twice now links to your website and for your book that you can find on Amazon.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'd really love to thank Greg Prescott and Ali, Psychic Ali. You are two beautiful lights on this planet. You dedicate yourself and have done for years. And it makes me sad how shadow bound you are. But then that's how we know that we're on the right track. But even so, it's really time that people support you both and really lift you up and subscribe. I mean, that's what I truly want to come from this broadcast for you two. I love you both very much. You're very dear, and you're so humble, and your global predictions. I mean, you've never been wrong. Have you ever been wrong? No, in years and years. You know, so just keep doing what you're doing. The fact that you live in different countries right now and you're married and you make that work, your relationship goals as well. So you're giving all that kind of loving. This is how a relationship can work, and this is how your chemistry works and your humor. And, you know, it's just so important that you two keep going. So that's what I really, really want to say too. I do encourage people to, if they're on a spiritual journey, they want to know angels, demons, and aliens, do get this book. I am writing the second one. There's just too many stories and experiences. But it will really help people awaken, because I want people who are now adults that maybe shut down what happened to them as children to remember, my God, that happened to me. I saw this little being look like a fairy. My mum said it was my imagination. Well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe you did see. Maybe you did see a spirit in nature, a deva. There's so many beautiful, magical, wonderful realities on our planet that have been shut down from us. So that book is definitely helpful. I say they are the greatest disclosure events on Earth, my conferences, Galactic Spiritual Informers. The next one in person is September 2026, so it's a year away. I just confirmed David Icke today. David Icke, yes. Another legend.
Oh, good.
He's one of my all-time favorites.
David Icke. I'm going to, Praveen Mohan, I'm going to give the lineup when it's all organized. And we just got back from Charlotte. But, you know, the bigger the whale I bring to my conference, the bigger everyone is validated. The information that needs to be out is going out. And then all year, I spend the whole year interviewing all these people on my channel too, for free. So everyone has access, you know. I'm so excited. It is a beautiful time for everybody if they can look at it that way, but also get on with your inner healing, guys. Take that inner child of yours, sit that child on your lap. Imagine your 3-year-old self and love them and hug them and hold them. And I always find myself rocking. This is called self-soothing. This is right. We need to be doing this
Do it all the time.
all the time. And it's okay. It doesn't mean that people, oh, she's mad, she's rocking. Really, dude, I'm going to do it even more then. You know, you've got to ignore people and be in your power, learn, raise your frequency, do the healing. Don't try and be the most famous person on the world. Don't try and be the galactic queen, the galactic king, the king of history. It's boring. It's so boring.
Be you.
Self, exactly, your loving self in every way. And you know, maybe you're not, you know, there's a girl, this really sweet girl, she great, best northern accent ever, her name's Faith, I forget her, Faith Daniels, is it? Anyway, she popped up on YouTube the other day and I'm like, oh, she's lovely. And I saw her, she's in the car with her kid, and then she sent me a message on Facebook, and so I answered her. She had a question about the Arcturians and I answered her question, and then she was always like, wow, I can't believe you messaged. I'm like, well, of course I did. You know, I can't, you know, you know, we can get inundated, but I'm just Dani, for God's sake. I'm just Dani, and I don't want anyone putting me. It's embarrassing. Don't put me on a pedestal. I mean, don't take the mick either, you know, because I'm not up for that. But just stop putting people because of the celebrity nonsense. It is butt clenching. I'm just Dani Henderson. I love you. I'm doing my job. That's it. So that's what I want people to take away with it.
I'm definitely grateful. I'm in gratitude energy whenever you're around, and I just it's like a recognition. It's like you're my sister, you're my spiritual sister. So yeah, it's exciting.
It's lovely.
You know,
I love each other again. It's great.
Yeah.
Kind of makes Allie uncomfortable when I call her my hottest goddess, but that's
yes, I don't know how to take it.
Dani, thank you so much for having for being a guest on our show and for having me on your show as well. And hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. And again, you know, we need to be sharing each other. Like, why is it that people with gigantic channels like won't have you on or me on or Ali on or, you know, Kat, or why? It's so selfish.
Yeah.
You know, is it because we're shadow bound and they're frightened to be shadow bound themselves? I think that might be the case. Not that that works. It doesn't work like that. I've never had any experience like that. They don't bother with that type of thing. They look at an individual and whether or not, you know, if they shut up that voice, how that, it's like looking through the looking glass, how that's going to affect things. We say sod that, we're going to get out there anyway. We don't care if 2 people watches or 200. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This show's for entertainment purposes only. Get that
allegedly
disclaimer in there.
Yeah, people need to be kinder. They need to be generous. They need to stop thinking about their followers or their likes and their clicks. Like, get over yourselves. If you're for humanity, be for humanity.
Yes.
Put people on your massive platforms and help them get their loving information out there. You know, so that's what I would say too.
And that's exactly what Allie and I discussed about bringing more people on.
Yes.
Our channel and doing this as a team. And
yes,
we're just honored to have you on as our first official guest of In5D Speaks With. And thank you again so much.
Thank you guys. Love you so much. And love to everybody watching. And thank you so much. God bless.
Much love.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Oh, bye for now. Bye.